Hello there everyone and welcome back to RealScreenReviews.com. I'm Nick Yakabuchi and our next review is the comedy Dinner for Schmucks. This movie opened in wide release on Friday, July 30th, 2010 and it stars Steve Carell, Paul Rudd, Bruce Greenwood, and Zach Galifianakis. This film comes to us from the usually brilliant comedic filmmaker Jay Roach, director of the worldwide successful Austin Powers and Meet the Parents franchises, and he teams with some of the most talented funny men making movies in order to bring us this humorous farce. Our story begins telling us the tale of Tim Conrad, portrayed by the always solid performer Paul Rudd. He is a corporate go-getter that is doing his best to make his way up the business ladder all the way to the prestigious 7th floor. He comes up with some pretty clever ideas, including how to rope in a major Swiss high roller into investing $100 million into his firm's company and cementing his new promotion and office. He then learns from his boss that there is yet one more issue that he must hurdle. There is a dinner thrown by his boss once a month, and the main objective is to invite an idiot to the dinner so that the corporate executives can make fun of them. Now, Tim brings this up to his soon-to-be fiancée, Julie, that calls him on this, in which case he emphatically denies that he will participate in any way with this dinner party. Then on his way to a meeting, Tim accidentally hits Steve Carell's Barry Speck with his car. It is a minor accident, and Tim soon realizes that Barry would be the perfect person to accompany him to this dinner for schmucks. Barry is a meek and kind-hearted guy that makes a living as a taxidermist. He was actually hit because he was bending over to pick up a dead mouse, later to be stuffed, mounted, and displayed in a miniature setting of a famous artistic representation, such as the Mona Lisa or the Last Supper. Now, Tim wants Barry in his life for the sole purpose of attending this dinner, but Barry enters Tim's life and brings nothing short of a tornado of destruction with him. In a matter of just a few hours, people, he throws out Tim's back. He comes close to ruining the business deal with the Swiss millionaire, and he nearly annihilates the relationship that he has with Julie. He also lets a very unwelcome stalker back into Tim's life and basically messes and screws everything up that he touches in his new friend's existence. Well, right off the bat, people, the only thing in this movie that's worth our attention is the idiotic character of Barry, and I believe that the exploits of the rest of the cast fall well short of being admirable. The main principle and idea of the film is nothing that I can support or recommend, and the actions of many of the film's participants are so arrogant and cruel that how could I possibly even find it amusing? Another point to be made is just how convenient the movie is on a whole. It seems to me that every time that something needs to happen, it just does. And whenever somebody needs to be around to hear something, they just happen to be right around the corner. You know, I did laugh in this film, but I would think that with the names that sit atop of this poster, that it would have been non-stop laughter throughout, and it was anything but. The main reason, I believe, is because I just couldn't get past the egotistical attitudes of the people that place themselves on these golden pedestals. I'm sorry, but the one feeling I had throughout this feature was being upset. I used to be very overweight when I was younger, and it is anything but pleasant when others take your imperfections and use them for their own entertainment or enjoyment. I understand that this is a comedy, but the filmmakers need to understand that people that are less fortunate than others deserve our assistance and compassion, and not to be the objects of ridicule. One of the main characteristics that separate human beings from wild animals is the fact that we have empathy and sympathy for each other, and that it's not survival of the fittest. You know, people, as the film progresses, our lead character Tim does seem to grow a conscience and eventually does the right thing. However, we're talking about somebody that's approaching 40 years old, and if the lesson that you need to learn in life is how to treat people with basic kindness and respect, you're not what I would call a wholesome individual or anyone that I would even like to be friends with. As I considered my thoughts and opinions, the only ones that seemed to resonate with me were how mean and cruel most of the people were in this tale. It does have some funny moments, but in my humble opinion, there really isn't much to recommend in this entire 1 hour and 50 minutes. I'm only giving this 1.5 stars out of 4 because it's nothing but a giant disappointment. And remember, people, I'm not always right, only when it comes to the movies. And thank you very much for your attention.